Hello everyone, welcome to We the People. Today we will be discussing and going over the president of John Quincy Adams, the sixth president of the United States. As always, I'm requesting that you subscribe to my channel. I am now up to 63 subscribers. I've gained 3 since my last video. And also hit that subscribe button and hit below and also hit that like button. So without further ado, I present John Quincy Adams, 6th President of the United States from 1825 to 1829. John Quincy Adams began his diplomatic career as a U.S. Minister to the Netherlands in 1794 and served as a minister to Prussia during the presidential administration of his father, the formidable patriot John Adams. After serving in the Massachusetts State Senate and the U.S. Senate, the younger Adams rejoined diplomatic service under President James Madison, helping to negotiate the Treaty of Ghent in 1814, which ended the War of 1812. As the Secretary of State under James Monroe, Adams played a key role in determining the president's foreign policy, including the famous Monroe Doctrine. John Quincy Adams went on to win the presidency in a highly contentious election in 1824 and served only one term. Outspoken in his opposition to slavery and in support of freedom of speech, Adams was elected to the House of Representatives in 1830. He would have served until his death in 1848. John Quincy Adams, son of John Adams, born on July 11, 1767, in Braintree, which is now Quincy, Massachusetts. John Quincy Adams was the second child and first son of John and Abigail Adams. As a young boy, John Quincy watched the famous Battle of Bunker Hill, June of 1775, from a hilltop near the family farm with his mother. He accompanied his father on a diplomatic mission to France when he was 10 and would later study at European universities, eventually becoming fluent in 7 languages. Adams returned to Massachusetts in 1785 and entered Harvard College, graduating 2 years later. He then studied law and was admitted to the bar in 1790, after which he set up a law practice in Boston. As a younger lawyer, Adams wrote articles deferring the neutrality policy of George Washington's presidential administration regarding the war between France and Britain in 1793. In 1794, Washington appointed him as the U.S. Minister to the Netherlands. After the elder John Adams was elected president in 1796, he made his son minister to Prussia in Germany. Before leaving for Berlin, John Quincy Adams married Louise Catherine Johnson, whom he met in London. She was the daughter of the American consul there. Tragically, the couple would suffer the loss of 3 children, a daughter in infancy, and 2 sons in adulthood. And by some accounts, it was a largely unhappy match. John Quincy Adams returns to the U.S. After John Adams lost the presidency to Thomas Jefferson in 1800, he recalled John Quincy from Europe. The younger Adams returned to Boston in 1801 and reopened his law practice. The following year, he was elected to the Massachusetts State Senate, and in 1803, the state legislature chose him to serve in the U.S. Senate. Though Adams, like his father, was known as a member of the Federalist Party, once in Washington, he voted against the Federalist Party lines on several issues, including Jefferson's ill-fated Embargo Act of 1807, which greatly harmed the interests of New England merchants. He soon became estranged from the Federalists and came in to abhor party politics. Adams resigned his Senate seat in June of 1808 and returned to Harvard, where he had been made a professor. In 1809, President James Madison called Adams back into diplomatic service, appointing him ambassador to the Russian Count of Tsar Alexander I. While in St. Petersburg, Adams observed Napoleon's invasion of Russia and later with the withdrawal of the French army after that great conflict. Meanwhile, war had broken out between the United States and Britain, and in 1814, Madison called Adams to Belgium in order to negotiate the Treaty of Ghent, which ended the War of 1812. John Quincy Adams then began serving, like his father before him, as U.S. Minister to Great Britain. His son, Charles Francis Adams, would go on to hold the same post during the American Civil War. John Quincy Adams from diplomat to president. In 1817, President James Monroe named John Quincy Adams as his Secretary of State as part of his effort to build a sectionally balanced cabinet. Adams achieved many diplomatic accomplishments in this post, including negotiating the joint occupation of Oregon with England and acquiring Florida from Spain. He also served as the chief architect of what became known as the Monroe Doctrine in 1823, which aimed to prevent further European intervention or colonization in Latin America by asserting U.S. protection over the entire Western Hemisphere. In 1824, Adams entered a five-way race for the presidency with two other members of Monroe's cabinet, Secretary of War John C. Calhoun and Secretary of the Treasury William H. Crawford, along with Henry Clay, then Speaker of the House, and the military hero Andrew Jackson. Adams carried the New England states, most of New York, and a few districts elsewhere, but finished behind Jackson, who won Pennsylvania, the Carolinas, and most of the West, and both the electoral and popular votes. No candidate received a majority of electoral votes, and the election was decided by the House of Representatives. Speaker Clay threw his support behind Adams, who won the presidency and later named Clay as Secretary of State. Jackson's supporters raged against the corrupt bargain, and Jackson himself resigned from the Senate. He would again seek the presidency successfully in 1828. John Quincy Adams, sixth President of the United States. As President, Adams faced steadfast hostility from the Jacksonians in Congress, which perhaps explained his relatively few substantive accomplishments while in the White House. He proposed a progressive national program including federal funding at an interstate system of roads and canals and the creation of a national university. Critics, especially Jackson supporters, argued that such advancements exceeded federal authority according to the Constitution. The Erie Canal was completed while Adams was in office, linking the Great Lakes to the East Coast and enabling a flow of products such as grain, whiskey, and farm products to the eastern markets. Adams also sought to provide Native Americans with territory in the West, but like many of his initiatives, these failed to find support in Congress. Up for re-election in 1828, Adams was hurt by accusations of corruption and criticism over his unpopular domestic programs. Among other issues, he lost badly to Jackson, who captured most of the southern and the western votes. Adams became only the second president of the U.S. history to fail to win a second term. The first had been his father in 1800. Adams retired to private life in Massachusetts, only briefly winning elections to the House of Representatives in 1830. He served as a leading congressman for the rest of his life, earning the nickname Old Man Eloquent for his passionate support of freedom of speech and universal education, and especially for his strong arguments against slavery, the peculiar institution that would fear the nation apart, that would tear the nation apart. Only decades later, after suffering 2 strokes, Adams died on February 23rd, 1848, at the age of 80. That's what I have. I kind of stumbled through it a little bit. I'm not gonna redo it. I'll just do some editing on it. But that's the 6th President of the United States, John Quincy Adams. As always, I'm asking again that you please subscribe to my channel, hit that like button, and don't forget about my other channel, my YouTube Flipper channel, Rex Flipper, and be sure and give me some follows over there also. I have another one of those videos coming out here in the next few days. I'm really getting busy right now. I'm starting a new endeavor of doing estate sales and being in charge of the estate sales and running them. And I've got my first one coming up this month, and I'm going to be working hard on that starting this afternoon. And hopefully this will work out pretty good. I will be doing whatnot auctions on this estate sale as I continue through it. So without further ado, I bid you farewell, and for my family and yours, God bless America.